I know this isn't the best way to start a video because I just left the courthouse for a speeding ticket. Not fun. Worst part is I wasn't even driving the GT500 when I got the ticket. Less fun. I was actually in my wife's Altima. No excuse for that. But you gotta admit, the lighting just makes the GT500 look so good. Although it's extremely dirty, those wheels are hideous. Oh man, I can't wait to get those brakes changed out. But yeah, like, oh, that sounds so good. Now, strangely enough, almost all the tickets I've ever gotten were in cars that weren't fast, were loud, and they all had automatic transmissions. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. When your car is louder, you can actually hear the tone of the exhaust change as your speed and RPMs go up. And with it being a manual transmission, you're forced to shift, and therefore, you're more aware of your speed. With an automatic, all you're doing is going with the flow of traffic and just kind of staring off in front of you and not necessarily paying attention to your speed, because the transmission does all the shifting for you and you don't hear an exhaust because it's quiet and it's boring. So that being said, if you're just coasting down the highway like this and you're staying with the flow of traffic, your speed can drift up and you don't really notice it. Whereas in a loud car like this one, you can hear the pitch of the exhaust and you're enjoying the drive and you're more attentive to what's going on. I know that sounds like an excuse, but it's kind of not. But I'm not here to talk about speeding tickets, so let's get past that. I'm here to talk to you about the first experiences with your car every day, and that starts with your keys. There's nothing more exciting than grabbing your keys, going out to your car, hitting that unlock button, getting in, and turning the key for the first cold start of the day. But that being said, the very thing that can give you that joy can also take some of it away, because let's face it, these old Ford keys are mind-numbingly boring. You have a really nice GT500, but you have these old Ford keys. Now, the worst thing about these is that the key fob is not even attached to the key. They're separate. And worse yet, the key fob is equally as boring as the key. Biggest problem with these is that this little plastic ring here always breaks. And one of two things happen. Either it breaks off and you lose the key fob and you're just stuck with a key, or worse yet, that little ring breaks off, you keep the key fob, but then you lose the key. That's not good. But don't fear, you have options. I, myself, only had this one key when I bought the car. That's not good. You lose the key, you're screwed. So I have to get another key. The problem is, I don't want another one of these keys. I want something nicer, because the feel of this, it just doesn't feel good. It feels old, it feels crappy. And I don't want an old crappy feeling key when I have a nice car. So that's where this comes in. This is a key fob switchblade key from a newer Ford, and this works for this car now. This is what I think is the best upgrade for any older S197 or any Ford for that matter, and I'm going to tell you exactly how you can make this newer, nicer key work for your Ford. Now, this key fob has already been programmed, obviously, for this car. You saw the lights come on. It does work. Now, there's a couple ways you can go about getting this key and getting it to work for your car. One, you can do like I did. I went to a locksmith and had this key made and programmed to the car. Now, you would think that's extremely expensive, but it's really not. Now, I don't know why Ford charges such a ridiculous amount for this key. This key from the Ford dealership, they told me was going to be $180 for this. Oh, and this. That sucks. All right, so hopefully this is a little more quiet. I was way over there, but then a bunch of people showed up for a ball game, and now I'm here. Yeah. So as I was saying, we have old Ford key, new Ford key. How do you make them work? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Like I said, if you already have one key and just need a second, that can get kind of complicated. I went to the local locksmith that was around my area. Jake Bain does phenomenal work, great pricing, awesome guy. So he hooked me up with this key and cut it for me. Oops. He cut it for me to fit the car and programmed it for me. Not a problem on his end, obviously, because he's a locksmith, so that makes things a lot easier. Now, if you do this on your own, which you can do, you can buy these keys on Amazon for around $20, give or take, which was the route I was going to go. But the problem is, from what I understand and what he has confirmed for me, is that if you do that, you need to have 2 of the original keys, the master keys. And unfortunately, I only had 1. So that would have meant that I had to go to Ford, buy another original master key, then go and buy this key. And by then, it would have cost me almost the same amount of money, if not less, to just have this new one cut. So that's what I decided to do. Now, if you have both of your master keys and want to program all of this on your own, you can do it like this. First off, you're going to have to go somewhere and get your key cut to fit. So you have to take your original key, have it copied and cut to the new key, then you can program it. So first off, you need all the keys in the car that you have. And what you're going to do, insert it into the ignition. Now this is the one that it does work, your original key. Click it to the on position till you hear the chime. Take it back out. You have 10 seconds to put in the other key that you want to program. Take that one out. And then you had programmed the key itself. Not the key fob. The key fob still will not work. But you programmed the key. So what you need to do there is put the car into program mode and then program your key fob. How you do that is you take your master key, you're going to turn it to the on position 8 times, and then you're going to grab your key fobs and hit the lock key on each one. So you're going to hit the lock button on each key fob, which will program everything. Now, you'll know you're in program mode when you hear all the doors lock. I'll show you. See, now all the doors locked. So now you're in program mode. So I'm going to take them out. I don't need to hit the buttons because mine's already done. But once that happens, you would hit the lock button on each one, and then you would know they're all done. See, mine already works, so I don't have to do that. But trust me, it happens. Now, once you've programmed all of your key fobs and then pull the key back out, you'll hear the doors lock again. That way you know that you're no longer in program mode and your key is done. So then you just take your key and test it out. And that just feels so much better when you have a newer key fob to turn that ignition and get that cold start in the morning rather than this boring thing. Now, the only thing left for me to do anyway is I wanted to personalize this a little bit. So that little ring right there that a lot of times would just say Ford, it doesn't come with anything. So I specially ordered a Shelby sticker to put in there, and it hasn't come in yet, which is why it's not there. But once it comes in, that will be put right there, kind of giving it a nice little personalized touch, making this Shelby look and feel a lot newer and nicer. So I also need to apologize for the lack of GT500 content lately. I've been extremely busy. The wife and I are shopping for a new house. We're trying to sell ours currently, It's a big process, it's very exhausting, and it's taking up a lot of time. So I know there's a lot of videos I have planned for the GT500, one of which do revolve around this disgustingly dirty wheel. If you don't already know, the GT500s come with the Brembo brakes, but with the Brembo brakes you get this. So that needs to be addressed. That is in the works. Probably going to be the next video I make with the GT500 addressing that. So there is also one more mod that needs to go on the car that is sitting in the garage waiting to be put on. Now, I dropped a teaser on that in my Cops, Cars, and Coffee video where I talked to Street Speed 717 about whether or not the GT500 could take his Gallardo. So that was actually a really good video. Go check that out if you haven't already, and try to find out which mod is going in here after that mod. So lots of mods going on, lots of content coming up. So make sure you drop a like on the video, hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next upload.